Are you excited about the holidays coming up, or are you dreading all the extra things that happen during the holidays? Well, either side of the fence that you're on, this episode is going to be helpful for you because regardless if you're looking forward to it or you're dreading it, there are things that being mentally prepared will help you with. Grab a pen and paper, you're going to want to jot some things down, and you might even want to listen to it twice or share it with a friend so everyone can have happier holidays. Have you ever felt held back by self-doubt, whether it's speaking up in a meeting or connecting with others or simply just believing in your own worth? Well, you're not alone. Welcome to the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. I'm Heather Edwards, Master Certified Life Coach, and my goal is to empower you to step into your most authentic, confident self. Here, you're going to discover practical strategies and powerful insights to help you improve your communication, deepen those relationships, and elevate your self-esteem. And each week, I'm going to guide you through some actionable tips and mindset shifts that are specifically designed to help you break free from fear, show up boldly in every area of your life, and build crazy confidence. Are you ready to stop hiding in the shadows, playing small, and avoiding the spotlight? Grab your favorite pen and a notebook, and let's get to it. I don't know about you, but I actually really love the holiday season. I love the Thanksgiving food and the family and extra gatherings with friends and family. And I especially like the traditions that happen during the holidays. But the thing is that with all of this extra stuff comes extra stress, extra money spending, extra time, extra attention and energy that isn't on the docket normally during the rest of the year. So a lot of people, for a lot of reasons, whether it's you've lost a loved one and you dread the holidays, whether it's like me, I actually am challenged with Christmas. It's that time of year that I really wish we had children to wake up on Christmas morning and open gifts and share the love that we have to give. So it can be a challenge. The holidays can be a challenge. So whatever your challenge is, you have to be aware of that challenge. This conversation is all about how can we navigate the holiday dread. If you are someone who has some things that feel off during the holidays, or just you simply don't like it for whatever reason, this conversation will help you do that a little bit differently this year and do it in a way that isn't as overwhelming. The first part of it is you need to identify what are the stress triggers that you have that are brought on by the holiday season, such as what specific gathering is it that you stress about? Or are there some tasks that are extra demanding? Or maybe there's just certain people that you don't want to see or you don't want to be around. What you do by identifying that is that you can start working now at reframing your thoughts about it, changing your actions that are tied to whatever it is, and then proactively manage or avoid what you can if you need to. So that's your first thing. The second thing is that you want to set realistic expectations for yourself. And what is the holiday? Like what it should look like is not necessarily, should part of it is not necessarily what you should stick with. Maybe challenge the pressure that you have for being perfect or for it all being the way you want it to be. And that is really difficult when you're faced with it, but it is very important to address it because avoiding it just makes it more difficult, and not having the conversations that you need to have or what it is that you really want. And sometimes you're not even really aware. You might just be having reactions to conversations or requests, and then all of a sudden you realize, well, I wanted it this way. So think of that ahead of time so you have less stress attached to it and you're not feeling as if you're putting boundaries or excessive emotion into what you're wanting it to be. But be aware that if you're trying to label something as it should be a certain way, be aware of that. Really dig into that thought that it should be one way. It should be is kind of trapping you into what other possibilities could be. So I know that's hard to do because I am right there with you, but it is very important to recategorize the shoulds to what could be. Then I want you to also give yourself permission to say no. If there are activities or events that are overwhelming you or they're just too much on your calendar, Prioritize your mental health, prioritize your physical health, and prioritize your family, your needs. And although it is the time to give and share and include everyone, give yourself permission to say no when that no needs to happen. What happens when we don't say no and we say yes anyway, we build resentment and then we build shame around, well, I should have done it this way, or they should have done it this way, or they shouldn't ask, or they couldn't, why did they do that? And all of that shame and blame and frustration could be solved by saying no. And then the second part is when you say no, work on not feeling guilty for that. That is something that I have a hard time with. When I say no, or I pull out of something that is for my mental health or for my family or for other reasons, I have a really difficult time with not feeling guilty because I want to be that helper. I want to be able to give to all the people that need the help. But sometimes we have to start with ourselves, or actually all the times. If you are traveling on an airplane, they tell you, put your mask on first. You can't help anyone else until you put your mask on. So it's the same premise. Say no to what you feel overwhelmed by or things that aren't necessarily a priority for you. But what that requires is knowing what your priorities are. Start there. Make sure you have your priorities in line and then say no to what doesn't fit that. The next thing is planning your schedule ahead of time and carve out periods of downtime and then self-care. That looks different to everyone, right? Sometimes self-care looks like a bubble bath. Sometimes self-care looks like going with a friend to have coffee and talking about the holidays. I mean, it's what it looks like for you. Choose activities that help you do a recharge zone or have a recharge zone, and then you can be more present when you're in other areas that are not your favorite. So things like reading, walking, journaling, maybe meditating, doing what will fill your cup will help you pour out of your cup when you are in situations that aren't ideal or are less favorable for you. The next thing is just practicing mindfulness, just breathing more, making sure that you're spending time in gratitude and not focusing on complaining about all the things. And then take time to regularly ground yourself, being present right now, right here, and not focus on the future or tomorrow or what has to happen in a week or two at Thanksgiving or at Christmas or whatever events that you have to attend to. The best way for all of that to go better is to do it preemptively and have a plan and be okay with throwing things out that are not fitting into the schedule. All right. And then the other thing that I want to talk about, which I always talk about because I think it is the basis of everything, is that reframing your thinking will also help you with this process. Ways to reframe your thinking are shifting the I have to's to I get to. For example, I have to go to dinner tonight for my Christmas party. Well, you may or may not have to attend that. If you have a family event or something else, you might just say, I'm not able to attend this year. Or you can say, I get to do this. Not every company has a holiday party, and so many people complain if they don't have a holiday party. So think of it differently this year. Think about how are you thinking about it that is creating more stress or more angst about it. Spend time in the abundance of it or in the positive part of it and see how that shifts how you're feeling about it. Then the next thing that is really hard for some of us, I've got my hands raised, you can't see me, but I'm the girl, accepting imperfection. I love to make parties pretty and fun and decorate and cookies and homemade this and homemade that. But I can tell you about 3 or 4 years ago, I gave up the everything has to be homemade. And it kind of hurt me a little bit, I'll be honest. But what it did is it opened me up to enjoy some of the more specific connection pieces of it with other people. So I love the process of homemade things, and doing that is like a love language for me a little bit. I get that from my mom and my grandmother and all the people that I was growing up with. We always did homemade food for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that. And I love it. I love it so much. But what I realized is my quest for all of that to be perfect was tearing down my ability to connect with the people who were there when the food was served. So what I mean by that is if I'm running around for 2 days ahead of time, making myself tired and irritable and frustrated, I'm not present and calm and included or engaged when I'm in front of other people. I do have a few items that I still do homemade. I love it, but there are some that I don't. And I do that specifically so I'm more calm, I'm more rested, and I'm able to really engage with my family. Think about what is it that you're doing or how you're presenting the holidays and think they quote unquote should be that you're actually not allowing yourself to enjoy it fully. And modify that, make some changes and test it out this year or test it out next year. See what would work and maybe give you a little bit more freedom or give you a little bit more peace. Then I'm going to ask you to challenge all your negative self-critical thoughts. And I want you to ask yourself what's valid by them. So if you're getting ready for a Christmas party and you're just really shaming yourself the way you look in a dress, or you're worried about the gift that you give and how expensive it is compared to someone else's, all of those things are not necessarily what's important. Maybe they are to you. I don't know, but I want you to question the validity of that. I want you to ask yourself, what is really important? And ask yourself, are my expectations unrealistic? And then I want you to consciously look for something that's an alternate way to think about it and a gentle or more subtle perspective that might be more supportive for you going through the holidays. The other thing is I want you to include a daily practice of gratitude, and that is just really to keep you grounded and thinking about what's real and what matters. And think about the things that you're appreciative for each day, and what are you thankful for that is not obvious or you're not paying attention to. And that hopefully will give you a different outlook through this whole process. And as you look around and see other people and what they're going through, maybe it'll help you be appreciative with where you are. But also you may be the person who's going through something. You can still find things to be grateful for. So I'm hoping that this is going to encourage you to think about your holiday season a little differently, to enjoy it with a little bit different fervor, and to connect more deeply with the people that you love. And maybe it is that you don't have family. Maybe you are someone who is sitting there without someone to share the holidays with. Maybe that's because you live far away and you can't afford to travel. Maybe that's just because that's your situation. And if that is, then make a conscious effort to go out and seek a way to connect with other people. Go to a soup kitchen and serve and volunteer. Find other people who are willing to let you enjoy their holiday with them. I would encourage you to open your arms and your eyes and your senses and your thoughts to when people are inviting or not inviting, however that goes. Don't take it personally either way, and understand that people all have their own angst and their own things going on, and we're not always privy to what's going on in their minds. So try to not take other people's situations personal. Try to be real clear about what your needs are and what your boundaries are and what you are finding that you need for your holiday season. I encourage you not to really worry about other people as much. So I hope that the next couple weeks as we move into Thanksgiving, you are finding yourself full of ideas of ways that maybe you can change things, or maybe you make them the same, but you don't put as much stress on them or as much pressure on them, and enjoy the connection of it. Enjoy the beauty of time off work if you get it, and all the decorations and all the different things that you have access to during this time of the year. So I am praying that you and your family are enjoying it and are going to enjoy the rest of the season and Christmas and all the things that come with it. But I will be here, of course, if you are someone who is struggling and you cannot get your mind wrapped around the holidays and you're stressed about a particular person or something going on. I am here to help you with that. I am good at helping people process what they want to get out of a situation and help them get to the point where they can do that. So if that's you, go sign up for a coaching session and let's get you set up for the holiday. Let's get you ready for what you really want, how you want to enjoy it, and get you set up to do just that. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It has been a blast. I would love for you to do me a huge favor and either go leave a rating or a review. And if you really love the podcast or you've learned anything at all, please pass it on to a friend or a family member that might enjoy the podcast as well. That's how I grow, and that's how I'm able to continue bringing you content. If you are interested in coaching, just go to thecrazyconfidencecoach.com. You can sign up for a free discovery call there. Thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you next Tuesday so we can build our crazy confidence together. Love you big.